Alright, today's shenanigans is brought to you by Brinks, we'll say. Got this floodlight. I've tipped those bulbs up out of the way, mounted on the front of my garage. You know, light up the driveway here when the vehicle pulls in. So I've got this nice motion sensor light. Well, unfortunately, the motion sensor went out. True to me, it went out like 3 years ago. Motion sensor went out and got to the point where the lights would just kick on and stay on, and they would time out after about 10 minutes, whatever, shut off, kick right back on. And so of course that means that the bulbs burned out really fast because the bulbs are staying on all the time. Now it would still turn off in the daylight, but this thing, it's dual purpose. It's daylight sensing and then motion activated, so it'll only run when it's dark out, but then it would run all night long. So anyway, this went out probably a year, maybe 2 years ago. I bought the replacement sensor and then I lost it, forgot about it. Well, I just found it back. So today we're gonna try to put it on. So like I said, first thing I've done, I flipped these lights up just out of the way, and then I'm gonna take this off, and hopefully I can pull this out with enough wires that I don't have to take the whole faceplate off. But if I do have to take the faceplate off, it's no big deal. Just 2 screws, pull this whole housing off. Actually, I guess I'll probably have to pull the whole housing off to get to the wire nuts, but let's try to take this loose first at least and see what that looks like. Okay, so I got it opened up. Because this is an all-weather application, you've got this gasket. There's just one central screw, so there's a little plastic tab. You might have noticed it in the last little bit of the video. I had to pop that out with a screwdriver, and then back that screw out, the whole thing comes down. So what we're going to be working on is, now this was a all-in-one factory unit when I bought it. So it's got everything actually pre-wired. What I'm going to do is actually take this clip apart. This kind of a quick connect. Take it apart. That way I can take this whole thing down in the shop and not have to be up here working on the ladder. But I'm going to be just taking off this, and it's got the 2 or the 3 wires that power it. Take it off and just swap it out. The new one that I've got comes with the wire nuts and everything I need, so it's just going to be a quick plug and play. These look like they're kind of crimped and some sort of heat shrinked on there from the factory, so I'll have to cut those loose, but I've got replacement wire nuts like I said. So let me get this off here and get it down, and then we'll have a look at it. Okay, now in this application, it's very simple, really. Just quick plug and play. You've got 3 wire nut locations here. Got to cut those loose since I can't. I mean, I'll try to see if I can uncrimp them, but I think they're soldered. So I'll just cut them loose, swap out my sensor, and then tie them back up. Just the most important thing to remember is, remember what was what when you took it out. So either, tape all primary wires, like if you're going to cut this loose, tape them together so you know which ones have to go back together real quick, or whatever you want to do, but just remember which ones it is. On this one, it's very simple because all the whites are together. There's one just neutral. You've got your black, 2 black commons here, so I'll just keep those pushed over to the side. And the only real kicker is these 2 blacks, which is power wires out to the lights, are tied in with this red jumper wire that comes from the sensor. So, if you just think it through step by step, you can, even if you get it mixed up, you can think it through and you can figure this out. Okay, think logically how this thing has to work. Power has to come in somewhere. So here we've got a black power wire. Remember, this is residential, so black is hot, white is neutral. So you got a black power wire, you've got a white neutral, and you've got a green ground. That's very obvious. The green ground goes right to the ground screw, so that one's out of the question. You don't have to question what happened to it. You're not even going to cut it. You're not even going to mess with it. Now you've got a white and a black. Well, black power wire, for this thing to function, black has to first go to the sensor for the sensor to then tell the lights what to do. So you know that the black wire coming into here has to then be directly tied to the black wire going to the sensor. And then you know, well, if, okay, there's a black wire going in and a white wire going in, and the only wire coming out is a red wire, then the red wire must be the control that then goes to bring power to the lights. So, like I said, if you do forget and you do mess it up, you can usually walk yourself through it logically and figure this stuff out. You just have to think the process. What's the flow of electricity, or in the instance of plumbing, what's the flow of fluid? Whatever. In mechanics, what is the flow of power, horsepower? Whatever you need. It's very simple. You just have to think it through what needs to happen, and usually you can figure this stuff out just by looking at it and tinkering with it. So let me get this swapped out, and then we'll take a look at it, and then we'll get it put back up there. And I won't know if it works or not because it's daylight today, so I'll have to see tonight if it works. Now this is funny. I actually hadn't looked at the package before I just did that last little spiel about figuring it out, but they really idiot-proofed this one. The wires on the replacement part came with these tags that tell you exactly what to do. If you can read Spanish. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. 2 switched hot wire. So go directly to the switch hot wire. This one, connect to black floodlight wires. And of course your white should say something along the lines of, yeah, just connect to the white neutral wires. So that's funny. It's funny to make that simple. So I can see how this could be a little intimidating for somebody who, you know, doesn't know for sure. You open this up, you see a whole mess of wires. But in this particular instance, just be careful not to want to connect all your black wires together, because some people think, oh, just black to black, white to white, green to green, done. Now that is the case in most receptacles, but not in the case of these switches. You know, because you've got the sensor involved, so you're going to have a red wire, it's a jumper wire. So anyway, I've got it all tied back together, wire nutted back up, so let's get it slapped back up there, and it might have actually a test function where I can turn it on and test it, so we'll have to see. Alright, there you have it. We're in test mode right now, so it's kicked on regardless of being daylight out. This bulb on the right still burned out. I only had one. Both the bulbs burned out. I only had one replacement. But that one's shining bright. I won't really know how to orient them till tonight. When it's dark, I'll come out here and I'll readjust them where I need to. We're going to turn this sensor down a little bit, so hopefully it only catches us and not the neighbors right over there. Their light tends to kick on when we come in our driveway. And it used to be vice versa, that ours would kick on when they came in, so it doesn't make much sense. But anyway, I'll get another bulb to go in here whenever I get another chance to go to the store. But yeah, for right now it's fixed, so I'll just reach up underneath here and let's see what our settings are. We've got test and time, so we're going to switch it over to, for your time settings, you've got 1, 3, and 20 minutes, which is, we're going to turn it on for 3, I believe. Let's see, all the way to the right. Come back 1 click, so that should be on 3 or 5. I guess that's a 5. That makes more sense than 3. And then on here you've got this dual bright setting. So this is how much brighter do you want it to be. And I've noticed actually that it said here it was kind of dark and then it adjusted. So we're going to do dual bright for 3 minutes and just see what it does. So anyway, it should be off of test now. I've got the boost turned all the way up just because I'm red blood American and I like to have things powerful. So yeah, let's see what it does here. It should kick itself off in a few minutes.